Hi guys, we are live. Welcome back to the Football Reaction Show. I hope you are all well. Get those questions in the chat. As you can see, I'm joined with some guests today. I've got FPL Nima with me. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I feel like it took me a long time to pick an Arsenal jersey today.
Yeah, I see you've gone with the banana there.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was topical, like I'd pick a top pre-Cronky. I thought that
Ah,
was the most relevant kind of jersey to wear. Yeah,
love it, love it. I love the thought process that's gone into
yeah. I did have a Sanchez jersey, but I haven't worn it since he left the club. One day when
Oh,
he retires, I might.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get that one. I get that one. I also have Bits and Bobs with me. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. So what? It's your boy Bitz and Bobs. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Friendly faces. Looking forward to today making my debut. So yeah, talking about the Arsenal top. They are the Ox, but it is a nice jersey. So Nima, I'll give you a heads up on that one. Sleep on
Nice, thanks. I think I like the Christmas tree kind of logo style back in the days.
that.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple with that on. I've got a couple with that on too. And we're also joined by Glen Kightley. He's been on my channel before, a bit of a regular. How you doing, Glen?
I'm very good. I'm so happy to be here. I feel like, Andre and Shara put into the Hall of Fame this week. I feel like I'm part of that with you, Bitz, and Nima on here. I feel like I've also been inducted on there. So I'm very
Uh,
grateful to be here to talk wider range of football topics other than FPL. So let's see how it goes.
yeah, a bit of a new series for me, widening out a little bit into the football world. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun. And I think we'll start off by discussing a little bit about the English football social media boycott that's going to happen this weekend. It's going to be a total social media boycott from this weekend, 3 p.m. on Friday to Monday, the 3rd of May. So it's in response to discrimination and abuse aimed at players, pundits, and other members of the footballing community. They say it shows English football coming together to emphasise that social media companies need to do more to eradicate online hate while highlighting the importance of educating people in the ongoing fight against discrimination. So, guys, this is a topic that's probably close to all of our hearts. I know as a woman in the footballing world, I've had my fair share of hate. But I wanted just to kind of come across all of you guys and first of all, just get your reaction to it and maybe a little bit about if you guys have had any discrimination aimed at you. So maybe Bits and Bobs, we'll start with you, buddy, if you don't mind.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a joke to be honest. I think I hate to bring up the ESL, but did we see how everyone in the
Mm-hmm.
football governing world, how quick did UEFA and FIFA reply? I think it was 24 hours. So to boycott a couple for a few days, 7 days, whatever it is, that's what's going to help bring awareness to racism. Come on, like it's just a PR stunt to say we're with you. You're not with us. You're not. Let's be honest. They're not with us. I think the ESL has showed that money is more important than dealing with equality, racism, and discrimination, and all forms of discrimination, whether it be sexism. Yeah, of course, I've had it. I mean, look, I live in Scotland. I've lived in Scotland since 1998. Imagine living in Glasgow, being Catholic, black, and have a London accent. I was very popular. You can imagine.
Mm.
So yeah, I've had it loads of times. I've been the only black boy in the football team, the only black boy at school, secondary school, social groups, and so on. So yeah, I've had it. I've seen it all. I'm very fortunate to say that in my work, I'm the first black leader of my work organisation. I'm
Oh,
also a
big up,
diversity
man.
ambassador for a sports club. I'm in contact with Troy Townsend from Kick It Out. We're trying to work on a little project, especially for Scotland and just in general, of like what we can help for social media. Yeah, look, my stance on it is a joke. To be honest, I think it's a waste of time. They're just stalling for till someone else comes up, and for me, yeah, it's a waste of time personally.
Interesting. Okay, FPL Nemo, what's your thoughts on this, buddy?
Yes, it's quite an interesting topic for me because I think I actually was born in Iran, in Tehran, and I came to the UK when I was 5. So I kind of English was my second language, even though I studied here my whole life. in high school, I used to kind of think because Iran was in the continent of Asia, I was Asian or I was like Indian or brown. I used to try and relate to that group of people in school. They kind of said to me, no, you're white. And then the white people would tell me, no, you're brown, go home. So I was kind of felt alienated. I was stuck between two identities and cultures. I didn't know where I belonged, who I was. It took me a long time to accept myself. And although I may not have faced the same kind of racism some of the other guys here, I think that kind of systematic racism was clear to me. And I was privileged in that my high school was quite a nice, diverse mix. There was people from all over the world. But when I studied at university, it was like 95% white, middle class, kind of boarding school kids. So when I arrived there, it was kind of similar to what you're saying, Bitz, in Glasgow. So I remember we were in university with 15,000 people near Newcastle. And it was to the extent that, like, if you said, do you know this guy Quasi? And they're like, who's that? And you're like, oh, it's the black guy in college. And they're like, oh, yeah, him. Because there was so few black people that they knew him as the black guy. Like, that's how few out of 15,000 students were black. And that kind of then showed me the other side of it, which is what it's like when you're not in a diverse environment. I'd kind of been in London. I'd been fortunate. I thought I'd been abused, but actually I was quite lucky to be around people from all over the world. It helped me realize we're all the same. And I didn't want anyone to go through what I went through growing up. So just to finalize and kind of go back to the actual question and not the tangent of my life, this boycott, I'm going to take part just because I feel like if we all kind of do it, it's more likely to damage the revenues of these social media companies. And I think money speaks for these guys. It does feel like a very token gesture. I will say that. I was not impressed with how quickly everyone came out to fight against the ESL, but you know, like the Slavia Prague player, he got the 10-game ban for the racism against Kamara. 10-game ban is the minimum you can get for racism. So that to me just shows that football doesn't take this seriously. The FA in the UK have tried to say it's a kind of European issue in Italy and other leagues, but I've been there and seen people throw a banana skin at Aubameyang in a Premier League game. So I don't think it's a European issue. I think it's an education issue across the world. And like we've started doing racism panels at work every year, and I encourage people to speak out when they see racism, even if it's kind of in passive aggressive ways.
Yeah. Glenn, what's your thoughts?
In terms of experiencing it, I'd say I'm very lucky not to have experienced it. So I was obviously born in Kenya. That's where I currently am right now. My mom lives in US, so I've been here for basically 3/4 of my life and 1/4 of my life in US. So very different cultures. We all know what has been happening in US for close to 30, 40 years, especially the last 10 years. So it's a really different culture, but I've never really experienced it. In Kenya, everyone else looks like me. I've never really had any abuse, any kind of abuse. Everything is normal over here. And in US too as well, surprisingly, I've never had any kind of surprises over there as well. But the one thing my mom actually one day told me, I actually don't want you to live here because I'm afraid of how many black people are getting, killed here. That's what she told me. And I was like, you know what? I usually don't want to live in US myself. That's one of the reasons. The weather is the other reason. And I was like, yeah, definitely agree with you. She was actually very, very scared of me living there for the rest of my life. So I was like, yeah, I do understand you. So that's we would say I've experienced it kind of, or she avoided me experiencing that. In terms of being on YouTube and the comments, I've seen some comments here and there, obviously blocked some words, blocked some people and everything. Not that severe, although every kind of racism word or emoji or anything is bad in any way, but it's never been that severe like the way I've seen with other people experiencing it. Women, as you said, Nima, in football, Twitter and football, YouTube, I've never really seen myself experiencing that as well. So in terms of the boycott, toward Bitz and Neil said, I'd say I actually kind of support it. I think one player leaves, like Andre left the social media, Twitter. It doesn't really help. I don't think it really convinces these people, one person leaving. But if all the football clubs leave for entire weekend, I think, as Nima said, these guys get a lot of revenue from this football team, the musicians and kind of stuff. So this would be a big, big message. Like they lose a lot of revenue over the weekend. They bring a lot of followers on Twitter. They make a lot of people register for Twitter. They get a lot of revenue for Twitter from the football teams and from the football fans. So I think it will definitely affect their revenue and affect their thinking, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've said many times, I've said it to bits and bobs, I say it on, any stream that I've been on, I can't begin to know what it's like for a person to suffer any kind of racism. I've been, quite lucky in that respect. What I do know is that for me, no person is better than any other person in this world. It should not matter the colour of our skin, our sex, race, religion, nationality, even the football teams we support. It should not matter at all. We are just flesh and blood, and we're trying to get through this world as best we can together. If you are somebody spreading hate, taking time out of your day to place negativity on another person, I think it's real time to look inwards on yourself on that and find out why you feel you need to be that way and try and understand it and become a better person from it. In terms of the boycott, you know what, it's a little bit of, I'm with Bits and Bobs, and I'm also with Glen and Nima here. I don't think it's enough. I also feel like I don't want to be seen as doing nothing either. So I'm going to be joining the boycott. As I said a little bit, as a woman in football in a predominantly male world, I've experienced my fair share of, sexism and online abuse. But beyond myself, we have to be trying our best to disband hate of all kinds as best we can in this world. And I think I'm a little bit airy-fairy in that. I realise. I know it's never going to be completely gone. No,
not at all. I mean,
cool. That's good. I'm glad you're saying that, because whether it's racism, sexism, or any other kind, I just don't really see the point in it. I've got to say, I just don't understand it whatsoever. Why people hate it, I struggle even just to, I've grown up in a household being Arsenal with half Arsenal, half Spurs in the household, and I can't even hate Spurs. I just and that's a rivalry that's gone on, my whole life, but I just don't get the hate. Sorry, Bitz, I kind of interrupted you there. Go on, buddy.
No, I want to ask you, as a white woman, okay, and you know, obviously everyone knows about racism happening. How do you feel when you see it or when you hear it? Because me, Nima, and Glen could probably sit here and exchange story after story, But for you, though, as a white woman, yes, unfortunately, we have to admit that you have and will probably get more sexist comments, discrimination comments, and still talk about football. When it comes to the racism part, though, how does it make you feel?
I hate it. I hate seeing it. I honestly, it makes me upset. It makes me angry. We're human beings. We all live on this earth. We all breathe the same air. I've never once looked at another person and seen or thought differently because of the colour of their skin. It's just never crossed my mind. And I don't know how much of a minority I am in that or what, but for me, I hate it genuinely, and if I could press a button tomorrow and have none of it in the world, I would do it. For me, with the boycott stuff, I really want to join in to support it. I feel like Nima, I think money is what makes this world go round, and I do feel like taking some of that money away from the social media will help that particular situation. But I do feel like what Henri said, which is basically it's just a start. We do need to be more active going forward. I think, maybe we could think about implementing some sort of ID. That's something I wanted to ask you guys about. Do you think implementing ID to social media would help with this sort of thing? Nemo, what do you think?
Yes, I saw somebody asking, I think Ray in the comments as well, about do we think social media companies will ever kind of introduce something like that? From my perspective, I get why people want to do it. It's about kind of where there is maybe hate crime, when it does cross a certain level of just free speech and becomes a genuine hate crime and an attack on an entire race. I do believe that is something that people do need to have criminal actions over. The police need to get involved, but if the accounts are all anonymous, how do you punish them, right?
Yeah.
So I do think it can help to combat the trolls. How realistic it is to see that in the next 5 to 10 years actually happen and globally, I don't know. I think that's my difficulty here. Like, it goes back to the money thing for me. And as an Iranian, Trump spent a lot of years doing tweets about nuking Iran, and that's against Twitter's policies about, you know, killing an entire group of people and genociding them. But they let him keep his account because it drove traffic to their website and they made money. They only blocked him when he started a coup and a violent riot in the American capital. So my view there is Twitter only kind of dissociated themselves from Trump when he got them all the traffic they wanted and they were willing to oversee his other violations of their terms of service. So I find that hard to believe that these companies would implement something that would mean less people sign up, or fake accounts that are anonymous then get deleted. Like, they want ad money, they want traffic money, they want to sell ads to brands. So I find that hard to believe they'll do it, to be honest.
Yeah, and surely it's going to cost them a lot of money as well, because they're going to have to have some sort of infrastructure, I would have thought, that you know, looks into when these things happen, that it's not a false claim and that somebody isn't getting kicked off of social media wrongly, I guess, as well, you know, on the flip side of the coin, you know, aren't just getting kind of...
I think it's a great idea, though. Like, I like it. Like, but then equally, I know some people are very, like, kind of privacy minded and they're worried about sharing things like their ID with a website.
Don't use it then.
Just don't use it.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest, guys. I mean, I'm assuming we're all probably around the same age, grew up in the same generation. Listen, I think social media is crazy sometimes, because the fact that you can have up to 30 plus, in fact, over 50 people in a group chat, you can, you know, do you remember finishing school, going home, and then getting changed and then knocking on your friend's door to see them come out? Do you remember
Glenn probably not, but yes, with you there.
God bless you, Glen. But,
he's the baby in the group.
Sitting on the pavement while someone's on their bike and everyone's listening to one person talk, telling a story. And like, there's none of that. Now it's literally, or if you knock on someone's door, you'd see if they're coming, or if they're not coming, okay, then you'd go to someone else. If they're not, you go home. Now it's literally everyone gets a group text who's out. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, but don't get me wrong, technology and social media does have its positives. However, if you can't honestly put your details on, then I have to ask, what have you got to hide? Are you not trying to use this for positivity and good vibes? Because if someone says to you, okay, Bitz, you need to put your passport details or driving license in to be able to use this account to be verified. Okay, cool. And then if I do something wrong or against the rules and I get banned or whatever, severance, disciplinary or whatever charge and stuff, whose fault is it? It's your own. Do you know what I mean? You knew the rules. And that's the thing that we need to remember here. It's against the law to be racist.
People forget this element when they say we shouldn't have the ID element. Like, the whole point of the ID element is to catch criminals. It is illegal.
You could tell me who's eating a hot dog and drinking a can of Coke in the Stadium of Light, but you can't catch someone that's putting monkey emojis. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Glenn, your thoughts on ID, whether you think that's a good idea?
Oh, absolutely. I think it will definitely help. You know, the funny thing is, we know they can do it, because like for Instagram, if you want to register for a verified account, they ask you for those details. So we know they can do it. So we know they choose not to do it in some situations. The problem with these companies, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's all a competition. So let's say, for example, this one has 1 million followers, this one has 1 million users, and this one has 1 million users. Will there be any company, which company will take the first step to be like, you know what? Let's kick out 400,000 accounts and let's be remaining with 600,000 legit accounts. Which app will take the first step? I don't think any of them will take the first step. Unfortunately, all of them is just a competition between them. And Facebook is trying to have TikToks or short stories, or YouTube is trying to have like short videos like TikTok. That's the competition they're in. They never really look at the bigger picture. So as I said, they can do it, they just choose not to do it. And I really hope it doesn't get to a stage, because it feels like they're waiting for something big to happen. God forbid they're waiting for someone big to something bad to happen, something big. Yeah. From Twitter, from Facebook, from Twitter or Facebook, for it to have for them to take the next step. That's the unfortunate part. And I hopefully it doesn't happen, it doesn't get to that stage, but that is what they're waiting to take place for them to take a step.
Do you think there's anything else that we can be doing actively beyond this. Bitz, I know you do some work in this, because I know you're against the social media thing, but do you feel there's anything more actively we can be doing? Because I know for me, I want to do it because I want to help in some way, but I also feel like it's not enough. Do you know what I mean? It is just a token gesture. So is there anything you can say to me that I could do, that I can do to help and feel like I'm actively doing something here? I'm hoping by putting this stream out there that I'm at least giving a platform to this sort of thing, and we're discussing it and we're having a good conversation around it, and that feels like it's a start. But do you feel like there's anything more I can be doing?
Listen, I'm always happy to speak to anyone who wants to try and change the world and make it a better place. I think it's unfortunate, isn't it? We the people, the public, we try and do what is available to us, and do it in the best of our capacity. And with you, what you're doing is incredible. We need to actually see what this is. You're a white woman talking about racism. It's unheard of. We're three ethnic minorities. Let's say it how it is. British passport or not.
Somehow I got a British passport. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Don't send the Home Office towards my house.
Ethnic minorities. But my point is that, just keep having the conversation, and if and when you can, alienate the person or group that you see, report them and stuff, because at the end of the day, we are not the police, we're not the government, we can only do what we can that's in front of us or what we're capable of. I mean, I'd love to sit here and say, start writing letters, start doing petitions and stuff, but it's not really practical. We need to be honest with ourselves. And the thing about tackling this poison, discrimination, sexism, racism, it's going to take time. Which is the sad part, but it's the realistic part. So no, just keep doing what you're doing, having these conversations. Listen, you're going to be liked for it. You're not going to be liked for it. That's the honest truth. People will take this in a different way.
I wouldn't be a woman in the football world if I didn't think I could. If I wasn't happy ruffling a few feathers, put it that way. I wanted to chat to you guys a little bit before we move away from this about the monkey emoji. I know you touched upon it there, bits and bobs. I've used it in the past. I have to say, in the past, I genuinely did not think anything more of it than discussing FPL. Nima will be able to tell you that we've had a couple of people ban in our community from using it recently, in the FPL community, and they've shared the tweets that they've been banned from, and it's usually something like, oh no, I've captained so and so this week, cover eyes, monkey emoji. And that's usually where I would have used it, because that's the only expression, I guess, available with the whole, thing. For me, as soon as I got wind that it could be offensive, stopped using it. This was, I guess, a good couple of months ago now, before this even became a thing where people were getting banned for it. But I had a conversation with one of my friends, actually, and I was like, I use this quite a lot, and I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this, because it doesn't, we're having these conversations around racism more and more, and it feels like it could be seen as being, as being racist. And so I'm gonna stop using it. And they were like, yeah, no, I can see what you're saying, and that's probably a good idea, especially with me being a growing account and stuff like that. I was aware of it. I think having this social media ban this weekend, the one thing I'm going to try and do when I put out my posts to kind of take the time away from it and boycott, I want to say a little bit that I think Apple should be stepping up here, away from the social media. Massive Apple fan, got lots of Apple products, but I feel like it wouldn't be very much for them just to remove it. If people are getting offended by it, and it's causing upset or confusion, and some white people using it without even realizing it could be offensive, some people using it offensively, should we just not take it away? What do you think, Bits and Bobs?
Should remove it completely. Yeah. That's my opinion. And
absolutely.
I'm just going to mention, this is my opinion, but I'm going to mention Bocce from Football Capital. And he said something on his show in the Football Capital. He said, why do we need emojis to send a message? Mm-hmm. It's just an emoji. We don't need an emoji to send it. If you want to put a love heart, say I love you or I love that, whatever. At the end of the day, Apple have created these emojis, and this is why the likes of Instagram, Facebook, and say it won't detect any racial doing or anything, because this is a part of the emojis, and I think we should get rid of it. I mean, I'm 31 years old, guys, right? And they're annoying in the sense of not even just on a race, or just been like,
I'm noting that down when I DM Bits in future. No emojis.
You know what, like, yeah, but I'm trying to say, like, but for what I'm trying to say, like, I know some people use it because it's easier. 100%, I get that. But let's eradicate some of the stuff. If it causes offense, don't use it. Go through all the emojis. If it causes offense, don't use it. Because at the end of the day, you wouldn't crack a joke at your workplace if it caused an offense. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do it. Yeah. So why are we not using the same energy for emojis? And Apple, listen, these billion-dollar companies, they're not stupid. Mm-hmm. They're not, at the end of the day, the old American way saying goes, no news is bad news. Bad news is still just as good as good news. So if they're using their emojis for racism, their emojis are still being used. If they're using their emojis for positivity, love hearts, whatever, and so on, they still get used. So yeah, of course, 100%. And like it makes me sad because, like, some of these Apple and all these platforms have actually ignited the problem, because they're giving people these tools to use. Like, can you imagine? Last thing I'll say on this: can you imagine someone going on, when you were younger, on flipping MySpace? I never used MySpace or Bebo or whatever it was back in the
MSN.
day. MSN. And can you imagine someone putting in on MSN, someone putting in their name, F all these black blah blah blah? It's not possible. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now people can say anything with their chest. So yeah, get rid of them. And not all of the emojis, get rid of them. If you will sit with a team that are diverse. And when I say diverse, I don't just mean male and female. I'm talking Asian, Southeast Asian, all around the world, and say, right, if this was sent to you, what would be offense you taking? Because most of these decisions that we're seeing are just all middle-aged white men. So
yeah, they are, aren't they?
Sense on that.
But I think that's something, because two massive companies, we're seeing Twitter ban people for using them, and yet I feel like in a way it's not. They have to do a lot more, Twitter, but also I feel like they could be having the conversation. Surely somebody high up at Twitter could be having the conversation with somebody high up at Apple and saying, look, we can't police that particular emoji. Can you not just take a second and look at these emojis, please? I mean, you've got plenty of options for the male, females. You've got them, all different colors so people can, express how they want to express. Can we not be doing, if people like using those particular, hear no evil, see no evil, that sort of thing, can we not be doing that in a better way? And I really think they could be. And that's a conversation I think could happen easily. It's just getting the right people to talk to one another.
Thank you. God bless you. And that's it. Like, look how quick you messaged us to come on. If we'd be interested in coming on.
Yeah.
This generation. God forgive me for saying this, but this generation, someone could tell me every single thing about a Nike trainer, Adidas football boot, blah blah blah. But these companies can't communicate with someone to say, I think we should take that off. Like, this is crazy. Like, yeah. But yeah.
I think just in the comments as well, someone mentioned they changed the gun emoji to a water pistol. So they do have precedence of changing stuff. But,
absolutely.
So, like, I don't get it. Like, they got their own police officers killing George Floyd, and it took that much pressure from everyone around the world to convict the guy. The Breonna Taylor guy didn't get done for it. He didn't get convicted. And what, like, they changed a gun emoji because like a couple of like middle school white kids go around with an assault rifle and kill 20 people at a time 20 times a year. So they can change it for that, but they don't want to remove emojis that are causing racist hate crime. Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't get it. And their own police are part of the racism problem. Like, that does not add up to me. And
I think we know, Nima, don't we? Let's be honest. It's what Nithya said. It's I think you said that institutional racism that's been inherited. You know, we all know that question. If you're a white policeman and you look at a black man, you think he's the N-word. See an Asian man, you think he's the P-word. And you see a Southeast Asian or an Oriental guy, and you think he's a C-word, then you are a part of the problem as well. However, it's these police forces that have been, I say colonized. I'm going to say colonized actually, because that's what it is. It's brainwashing. I've said that black guy, he's below us. That Asian guy, he's below us. That woman is beneath us, and that's inherited.
So this goes back to the education thing I was saying earlier. So I know in the comments, some people are saying like, you know, there'll always be racist, vile, misogynistic people. There'll always be people saying what they think, and that you maybe can't stop that. And although I get what they're saying, even with the IDs, you can't stop people saying it. But someone else in the chat then also said it's all about being a deterrent. Mm-hmm. So it's about deterring enough people, firstly. So like, you know, CCTV doesn't stop a burglary. It has a deterrent effect. And some people will still put on a mask, wear gloves, and break in, right? But it stops everyone doing it. So in the same way, I think the ID is the deterrent. So I agree with that in the comments. And then the final thought on that about education, I wholeheartedly disagree that education can't change the world, because actually, I mean, even on the most basic level, we all have relatives who are older than us. You've all been to parties where you'll hear someone say, oh, you know, that's grandma's generation. Like, we can't change them. They're just racist from their times. Like, I'm sorry, but... And I don't even just mean like white people. I know Asian friends from India, their parents are telling them you can't marry black, white, or Muslim. That's still racism. It's not just 100%. White against black or Asian against black. It's people are racist to each other everywhere. I get that. And they'll say what they think. So I think it is our job to police that as individuals and call them out. I should call out a grandparent and say to them, you know what, grandma, this may have been okay in your time, but we know better. That's not okay. And I try and explain to her, and I don't care if they're my living relative and I don't want to offend them. That's not good enough. You will never get rid of racism or educate enough people if you can't talk to your own family about it. So how do you expect to talk to strangers on the internet and tell them not to be racist if you can't talk to your loved ones who trust you and might in good confidence listen to you? So I think that's all I wanted to say, is that education isn't about just at school and kids. It's every kid when they're born, I'd like to think, is kind, almost like a puppy. They want to know everyone. We're social creatures. You're nice to everyone. You don't start out hating certain people because of their background. That gets taught, whether it's through parents or friendship groups or lack of parents and falling into a gang, whatever it might be. But it's then therefore all of our jobs to look at that and make sure we are educating people, because I think deep down when we're born, we all think we're all the same.
Yeah.
What happens next is a nurture thing. I don't think it's a nature thing. That whole racism and vile commentary, you're not born with that in your heart. We're clean, pure people when we start out.
Yeah.
Can I add to that?
And of course you can. Go on, buddy.
So I also know people, like close people, who actually say stuff like that and they don't actually know they're being offensive or disrespectful or kind of racist. Like if I say, for example, I'm doing a show with Nemo and then someone asks me, where is he from? Which tribe is he? Like, why does that matter? Okay, I'm doing a show with Bitz. Okay, which religion is he? Like, why does that matter to you? So some people think that it's okay to ask such questions, but in the bigger picture, it's not actually okay to ask such questions, because it doesn't matter. I've worked with 12-year-olds on streams. I've worked with ladies on streams. I've worked with people from Iran, clearly, people from Australia, people from USA. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter which gender you are. You just work with any, but some people don't actually know, by like asking those questions actually kind of offends people. And to come back to the emoji thing, again, as I said earlier before Bitz asked me to actually say it, like, what are they waiting for? What are Twitter and Facebook waiting for? Like, I don't want to see anyone, because these emojis were brought for fun. It wasn't brought to offend anyone or with bad intentions, obviously, from the companies. So I don't want anyone to use the monkey emoji and get into trouble when they didn't even intend that, like, to hurt someone. They're just using it for fun. I don't want that to happen to anyone. I don't want anyone to say something offensively by using those emojis.
Which is why I think just take them away. Just take them away so they're not even there to be an option to offend somebody accidentally, you know.
Because some people will actually offend someone purposely and then say, you know what, it was only a joke because it was just an emoji.
Yeah.
I wasn't intended to stuff.
I think with words it can be a lot clearer, and I think Twitter and Instagram will be able to police it a lot better if they've got the words there in front of them. They can decide then, you know, is this racist, is it not? But emojis, it kind of clouds the situation a little bit, and I think if you just take them away, then they can't be used accidentally or, you know, offensively.
I think just to round that off, because you mentioned the FPL community earlier, so I do actually have a good friend, Korth, who had his account deleted or banned or blocked, and they banned all the new accounts he tried to create. He said something similar about, like, Anthony Martial, you know, you didn't score or something, or I think he may have even said, oh, Anthony Martial, like, why are you being lazy or something, and then the emoji.
Okay.
He got blocked. And when you read his tweet, there's nothing in it or in his previous history ever that would show that this guy is being racist or trying to be derogatory to any group of people. And he's been banned, right? And he's lost all his thousands of followers. But the actual racists who are spouting vile shit and don't have ID checks, I've never seen any of them banned. So I agree, just remove the emojis, because if you're going to only block non-racist people for the use of the emoji, but all the racists get through and they don't get blocked, what's going on there? That does not add up. Like, every comments I read, there's some replies to this tweet, but we're not showing them. Do you want to click to see them? And when I click to see them and I see the shit people say, I'm like, wow, none of these guys are blocked? No? Like, what?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But this guy got blocked for an emoji that you could have just removed, and he didn't know what the emoji is being used. Because I know there are, like, some white supremacists using that emoji for that reason. So I get it, why they're blocking accounts. But no human looked at his tweet. No one with
FPL Cat is one of them. I don't know. You've probably come across her. You know, really sweet older lady. And she just did exactly that. Nothing. I don't think there was even a player involved in the tweet, but she used the monkey emoji, and she got banned over the weekend. And when she came back, she had another account, thankfully, that she used, and she came back in and she explained us, she showed us the tweet, and there was nothing racist at all in it. And she was so heartbroken when we explained to her that, you know, it could be seen as offensive. She was so upset by that, because she was like, I just would never, you know, and we knew she would never either, you know, want to cause an offense. So I genuinely feel like it's something that we really just could. I want to push that when I do my boycott on the weekend, and basically just be saying, you know, Twitter and Apple, can we not just be talking to each other and just getting rid of this, so that, you know, so that we can't be coming into these sorts of grey areas of, you know, oh, I accidentally used it, or no, I definitely meant to use it, you know.
You need to search for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the other thing. Mad, but I do think a lot of it is fear. I really agree with you, Nima. The education thing, it needs to be coming, because we're not born that way at all, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I am the way I am, is that I've always been brought up with no fear. I think a lot of it is fear, you know, the fear of the not knowing or not understanding, you know, a different person's race or religion or anything like that. And you know, I think it's education. We need that from the grassroots, and we need to be, you know, and I genuinely feel like that could be brought into football more as well, you know, when the little kids are training in football and stuff like that. It's something that we can be having those sorts of discussions with them as well, so that when they're coming through the academies, and it's when they go home to their friends and things like that, you know, there's those discussions are happening, and I think that's quite, you know, that's good as well. Is there anything else? I'd like to give you guys a bit of time just to, if there's anything else you want to say before we kind of move on. No, we all good? We all good?
I guess there's just one question in the comments about if they block those emojis, like, what will stop people, I guess, using other emojis to make racist or derogatory comments. So I do agree with that, but I think some emojis are easier to use for racism than others. So, like, if it's kind of obvious from the use of the emoji that it's blatantly racist, then I think we should be getting rid of them. Some of the more obscure ones, like I don't like. Yeah, they might find new ways to do it, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't prevent the first batch from being used and get rid of them. Like we'll cross those bridges when we come there, but we should like kind of get rid of the issue we see in front of us now first.
And that's all we can do, isn't it? I guess this generation, it moves so fast, technology moves so fast that there's never just going to be a fix all button for us. So all we can do, like you said, is, you know, see what's in front of us and try and deal with it, you know, as best we can, really. Okay then, guys. Well, I really enjoyed that. Thank you for allowing me to kind of dip into that with you. Shall we move on to Arsenal? I know as a Man United fan, bits and bobs. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on this anyway. But I want to talk a little bit about the Daniel Ek Spotify takeover for Arsenal potential. So the big news off of the back of the Super League and the Kroenke out protests is that Daniel Ek has tweeted out that if Kroenkes would like to sell, he'd like to put his hat in the ring. This is now ramped up by the media reporting that he is preparing a bid to take over Arsenal along with ex-Arsenal players Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp and Patrick Vieira. The Kroenkes understood to want about 2 billion, I think it is, for Arsenal. Wow. And Ek's-personal fortune is estimated around 3.4. So, you know, and just today he was actually on CBNC, I think it is, the sister channel to Sky Sports, saying that he secured the funds and that he will be making a bid for Arsenal. Apparently Ek has dabbled with interest in other football clubs in the past, so with him being an Arsenal fan, this isn't completely out of nowhere for those people who are just thinking, why on earth is he, you know, wanting to put his name in the ring. So the Spotify subscriptions have gone up, or will be going up. On one hand, people are seeing this as a sign as Ek buying the club because they're like, he's going to need more money if he buys the club. On the other hand, we've got people saying it's just a fantastic publicity stunt on his behalf and they'll get loads more people investing in Spotify. Kroenke's son has said that he has no intention of walking away and that they still believe that they are fit to be the custodians of Arsenal. So a lot to digest there. There's a lot that's happened the last few days. Glenn, what are your thoughts on all of that?
So I actually saw his tweet. The time he put out that tweet, I actually saw it after 2 minutes. I was like, who is this guy? And I actually clicked and saw Spotify. And I was like, yeah, he probably can't afford it. I was super excited. Listen, anyone but Kroenke, that's what you always say. Anyone but Kroenke, anyone is better than Kroenke. But for a deal to happen, a business deal like that to happen, you have to have someone who wants to buy and someone who wants to sell. In this occasion, we only have someone who wants to buy, but no one who wants to sell. And do we even have someone who really wants to buy, as you said? I've looked not just the Spotify downloads, I've looked at the followers. If I check his personal account on Twitter right now, he's followed by like 20 or 30 Arsenal fans that I already followed recently. So they've gained the publicity stunt. They're doing it very well. If it is a publicity stunt, I'd be very, very hurt. You know, it's like a guy or a girl who's been in a relationship and you're so used to getting hurt and then here comes someone else to hurt us again. That would be very, very bad. But the thing I like about what he said is he's actually an Arsenal fan. That's what we always ask for. Just get someone who cares. We just want someone who cares. You don't have to have 100 billion or so, the kind of money Sheikh Mansour has or Roman Abramovich has. We just want you to care. We just want you to care about the club. Come to some games if you can, support the club, show us that you're interested in what is happening. But will it really happen? I don't think so, because Kroenke has never, ever sold any of his, they call it franchises over in US, Denver Nuggets, LA Rams, all of those teams. He's never sold any of his teams. And as we always know, he's using our team as a cash cow. So will he really sell? I don't think so. Can we push it? Fan pressure? Does he even really feel the fan pressure? Because he's not even in England. Does he even care?
Has he even met a fan in the 10 years he's owned the club?
Mm-hmm. I don't think even he cares. I don't even think he like feels the fan pressure. Don't feel, even if you don't buy the the t-shirts and all, does he really feel it? That's my thing. So I think we have to look for like other ways to get him out. Do I know all about the other ways? I don't think so. Right now we have to look into it and stuff, but it's really exciting to have someone who's willing to buy the club. Whether it's a publicity stunt, you have to look into that later. But if he actually buys the club, plus the aspect that is bringing the likes of Thierry Henry, Beckham, Vera with him, that's very exciting. So let's see how it goes.
I think that's the bit that makes it slightly realer for me, because I don't think those players would put their name to it if it was a publicity stunt. So what are you thinking, Nima?
Yeah, I think those Invincibles backing him, I think they have too much of a reputation to lose if it was just a publicity stunt. So I agree on that. I don't think Kroenke wants to sell, and I think he'll have to be dragged out by someone, and I don't know who that is. I think even if it was a publicity stunt, I do believe there's a Nigerian billionaire, Aliko Dangote, who has also wanted to buy Arsenal. Yeah, and he's been talking about early 2021, and he wants to take control of North London. So I think there are multiple buyers out there. So there isn't just Daniel Ek. What upsets me, though, is that Kroenke will not sell. I think he bought the club for about 1 billion at the time. It sounds like Daniel Ek is going to bid about 1.85 billion, and I don't think Kroenke wants anything less than 2.2 billion. Knowing him, he'll try and be like, well, I'll only sell it for 3 billion, which is not what Arsenal's worth, because I don't intend on selling it, basically. I don't think he has any plans to sell it.
Although I would love somebody just to turn around and go, there you go then. So he
I
has no choice to go,
here's the money. Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't actually mean that, but now you've actually given me the right amount of money. So
I hope they get him out, honestly. But the other thing I will say is, in the interview that the Spotify founder gave, I thought it was quite telling that he actually spoke more about fans in that one interview than Stan has in 10 years. So, like, we just want some fan... I guess ownership as well, because if you think about how this all happened, it leaves me very bitter taste in the mouth, where he kind of went and forced fans to sell their shares because of the way he bought stuff off Usmanov. So he kind of bought the shares from Usmanov, then had enough of a controlling stake so that the law says all the other shareholders have to sell to him so he can have 100%. He then took the company private, which means he doesn't have to release any accounts. And before he made the company private, I remember at an AGM, he paid KSE like a few million for advisory fees. So that's what he was doing with our money when it was public bank statements. God knows what Kroenke's been doing since it went private, and he stole the ownership and shares from the fans. So for me, the whole thing just screams of a very commercial owner who's... The most telling quote I'll leave you with is in 2016, he said, "I did not buy Arsenal to win trophies." So that's really it. Like, he knows that the best, most profitable business is the one not spending money to win trophies. And it's also the one staying in the Premier League, not getting relegated. So all he ever dreamed of for Arsenal was being in the position we are now, which is bang in the mid-table, getting the Premier League money, and that's all he cares for. So for me, like, that is basically like a parasite stuck to the club, and we as fans need to do whatever we can to get him out.
Yeah, sorry. Welcome to the Dugout Football channel. Thank you for subscribing. Something should have come up on screen when you did, so I'm not sure why that didn't happen, but welcome to the channel, buddy. Yeah, so Bitz, give me your thoughts as a Man United fan. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'd like it to stay as it is, really.
Do you know what? Like, as a Man United fan, Arsenal are the hot spot. However, I'm a football fan,
yeah.
And I do feel sorry in the sense that obviously the massive decline of Arsenal. The thing about people that buy your club, right? You need to have money, and it's not like just any kind of money. You need to have like serious money, because it's okay. I always said this, even with the Glazers, but when we try, I said, if someone buys your club, that's cool. But what are they going to do after that? You know, like if like Nima said there, 2.2, did you say?
2.2 billion is probably what it's worth today, and okay, he's not going to sell it for that.
Exactly. He's not stupid. Let's be honest. As much as the Arsenal fan base do not like this guy, Nima, you just quoted off what he'd done to acquire 100% before he went.
The way he did it was very sour. He basically sent letters to the fans and said, it was a very threatening letter, I'll tell you too, which they said, you have to give me your shares by this date legally. give me your shares. And it was nothing like, you guys have been custodians of the club for decades. You've owned one share passed down from your father to the kid to the grandkid. Like,
thank you for
the
your
club
service.
comes from the grassroots. None of that. It was just, give me my goddamn shares. This club is mine, and I'm going to make the accounts private so no one sees what I do with my accounting.
Yeah, and then after that, obviously, you know what kind of individual, what kind of character you're dealing with. I think we need to look further at the FA and the Premier League Association for stuff like this, because I think we're allowing these people, these billionaires, multi-millionaires, come over. There should be...
I was testing myself, sorry.
No. There should be like a protocol or like a program that these people need to go through. And, you know, within they have to set an objective to the Premier League to say, this is what I want to do in 10 years' time, 15 years, 20 years' time, whatever. And they have to fulfill that, or they're legally bound to sell at a fixed price or something. Because hate it or love it, the guy is a very smart businessman. We've seen what he does in America. We saw his franchises, the money he makes. And Arsenal is his cash cow. And I mean, I don't think he was stupid picking Arsenal, you know. North London. Arsenal are the biggest club in London. I'm not going to have this debate with Chelsea. Okay, we could talk about trophies, but as a brand, Arsenal are the biggest club in London. Okay, and he wasn't stupid. For me, I honestly think that this guy from Spotify, there might be some truth in it. Running a football club and owning a football club are completely different to saying, oh, I'd like to buy that. This is not a handbag for your partner. It's not a pair of trainers, you know. And I know we're hearing that he's a fan. Okay, so that's brilliant. You want to buy it. What's your intentions? Are you going to buy us the players? You know, I'm not saying us, but I'm saying Arsenal. Are you going to buy Arsenal the players to compete? You know.
So he said they will. He's made that noise.
Has he made that noise already?
So Arteta's already come out in the interviews and said that fans would be surprised if they got to know the Cronkies.
Yeah, so
they had 10 years to get to know us. Like, I remember 3-4 years ago, Kroenke flew over the one time from America. Stan, not his son Josh, and he came over and he said the same bullshit. The reality is, Gazidis, when he was CEO, he said we moved into the Emirates to compete with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich in the Champions League. We've done nothing close to that since moving to the Emirates. So it's kind of like,
not there anymore, is he?
Yeah, and he left. He jumped ship the moment they got Wenger out. So they were using Wenger as a Kevlar body shield.
Yeah.
The moment Wenger was gone, and in every interview, he basically said like, "Oh yeah, don't blame the players, don't blame the owners, don't blame the board. It's all me." Once he was gone as a human shield, you would think Gazidis, who fought that power struggle for years, would stay to like run the new modern Arsenal, which has a head coach instead of a manager. It has a sporting director. It has a head of... He went straight to Milan. He just disappeared and got out. The whole club is run like a mess. So if Kroenke was serious, tell me why there's been 4 different teams in charge of transfers, 4 windows in a row. You had the kind of Gazidis and Wenger time. The summer after, you had the Unai and Mislintat. Then you had like the Raul and Emery. Then you had like the Arteta and Edu, but without a real preseason and you've got like 4 windows of mismanagement, a 30-man squad, all average players on high wages. No one wants to buy them. And we're now only finally got rid of all the crap, but we've brought in people like Willian too. So it's almost like we don't learn. And I think this summer is going to be important because Arteta's basically saying, you know, like the club's not going to be sold. Arteta's quote was along the lines of, we can put the takeover conversation to bed because Josh told me and Stan told me they back us. They're going to fund us this summer for transfers and they're not going to sell. So it's almost like, what's going on here? Like, he feels backed and he's trying to tell us that as fans, we should get to know them. They didn't want to know us. They never came to this country. They didn't even go to the Europa League final when we were in it against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Who owns a football club and doesn't go to the final that could get them into the Champions League with all the money they're apparently after? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's sad times, and it's well, it's not even sad times, it's reality. And I just think that he's not going to sell unless
I don't think he will.
It's a monstrous offer. He's not going to sell, and I hate to be the ones that say it. I'm saying about the Glazers as well. They're not going to sell unless someone comes up with a monstrous offer that says, "We'll pay off your debt, and there's the thing. Leave." they're not going anywhere.
I think the
That's
government
why.
needs to get involved, I would say. So they should see the ESL as an attack on British football, the grassroots of football, the future and longevity of the sport. These guys basically decided that we're going to go and continue milking and printing money without any meritocracy. It doesn't matter if we're good. So you're telling me teams like Man City, Spurs, and Arsenal, who've never won a Champions League, should get into the ESL over Ajax, 4 times winners? What a joke is that? So like these guys literally said, we have the most revenue. We're the clubs with the most revenue. We're going to go and lock everyone out of this pyramid that got us here. Man City were in the 3rd division 20 years ago. So what? No one else can now come into their position. So what? Like the whole thing is a mess, basically. I think they just kind of used the system to get there, and now they're trying to throw the ladder away from underneath them.
Exactly.
So that's why the government needs to get involved.
It's like, do you know what it is? It's like, you know when you play Monopoly with your family, right? At Christmas or whenever, right? And
I actually had a joke
one.
with Lee Gooner about buying Arsenal with some Monopoly money.
Yeah.
Because I've been stuffing it up my sleeve, sticking it under my table. I think I got enough if I pile it all up together.
I was literally trying to go through that. Right? And do you know when you land on someone's and you say, "Listen, mate, we cut the family deals and stuff," and then within like half an hour or whatever times, you own everything, and then the deals you had, it's like, nah, mate, pay me full. But this is the thing now, and it's like that is the reality for you guys. And I just think, like Nima said, I think the government do need to come involved and say, like, this, you have to go for a program. You have to tell us what you intend to do, how much money you intend to do. And if the government don't approve it, you don't get the thing, you know? Because, I mean, he's not the first owner to come and do what he's doing, don't get me wrong. But I think he's one of the first few owners to do it in a way where it's like, yeah, you're not a nice person at all. Do you know, like, yeah, but to be honest, though, all of that being said, it is Arsenal, so I'll still
so croaky.
Yeah, so FPL Avatar asks, is this an Arsenal panel? So just so you know, myself, Nima, and Glen Arsenal, but Bitz is Manchester United. So
I guess you could say the same thing about...
we do have an extra voice from the outside.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Bitz, I imagine you feel the same about the Glazers, because from what I've been 100%. Reading, they've done a lot of creative accounting themselves to take $1 billion out of the club, right?
Listen. Do you know what what Fergie done while he was the manager, while they were there, and Jose, Louis van Gaal winning them trophies, or just getting money, top 4 and stuff like that. It's helped, you know, and I think it's not as much as a travesty as Arsenal because we have been winning trophies, and that isn't a dig. What is it's just that we're actually generating money on the pitch as well as off the pitch.
There's a lot of money, isn't there? Like seriously high revenue.
Yeah, and even if like the owners are being dicks, we're still winning a trophy. So it's like, I don't like you for now.
Okay, but how do you feel about this? Do you feel that there's a very clear pattern where they'll come second, they'll get into the Champions League, you could realistically challenge for a Prem the next year, and then they never seem to back whichever manager it is at the time that summer to then challenge for the title? Because I said last summer I saw United as a genuine title contender, and everyone laughed at me. And I said, they might, 3-4 players, they can win the Premier League, and I still back that. But then they went and bought like a few backup options, right? Like, what happened?
It's historically anytime after Fergie, anytime a manager, well, I say after Fergie, after Moyes, anytime a manager got into the top 4, we did not go in, because they were like, "Oh, we got to top 4. What do you need? You don't need any more players." But
they didn't back him.
They don't back him, and it's a funny thing they say. The rich people don't really like spending money. And I say this about some celebrities because, celebrities put up tweets, they go Nando's, blah, blah. I don't know if you've heard of the Nando's Black Card. Have you heard of the Nando's Black Card?
No.
So
Ed
celebrities
song,
get the Black Card. Yeah. So basically,
you get free food
it's free though. Yeah, you get free food.
All right.
So they're not spending any money. They just have to advertise that they're there and eating. So I think
Glen's here going Nando's.
Yeah, like flipping Man United and the Glazers is that they can turn around and say, well, under our reign, we're still giving you trophies and we're still competing. But unfortunately, what they're doing, they're still taking out money. And I saw the protest, and I saw everyone for going. I salute them for passing it. However, I just really think to myself, they don't care. The same way they all said, yeah, we'll jump in the Super League. This wasn't, when they said the Super League, this wasn't like an open letter to say, we are looking to try and evolve football. They could have put sugar on it, honey, cherry, strawberries.
The PR
It looked like
was
someone built the graphic
absolutely
design 10
awful.
minutes before. Like, you're in graphics, right, Nim? And
Yeah.
you could have knocked that up in, what, 10 seconds? Like, you would think a multi-billion-pound JP Morgan-backed league would have some serious branding behind it. Like, what's going on?
The PR was just,
on that, I just think, well, to be honest, they weren't asking, they were telling us. So, you know, and look, this is no dig to anyone that goes to the protest. Please go have your say and stuff. For me personally, I just think, listen, they told you they were going in there. It wasn't the case of, what do you think? Do you fancy this? Can we get a yes?
They didn't even ask the managers. The managers found out when we did. Players found out on social media. Like,
so this is the kind of people we're dealing with. So, I mean, what do you expect? Unless someone comes in with a lot of money, I'm sorry, guys, put the seatbelt on and enjoy the ride.
So is there not the fear that they'll try this again and have much better PR? So that's why I'm saying we need to get them out. The government needs to get involved.
I'm telling you now, it will happen.
They will try. They've been trying for 30 years, from what I understand. Like 12 years ago, Wenger said the Super League would come, and he said the only way it could happen and be successful is if it was based on merit. They obviously missed that part of the memo.
Yeah. But look, I think it will happen. When I say it will happen, I think there will be another competition where it evolves, and it is the elite, because I hate to say it, right, but the Champions League only gets entertaining when it comes to the quarterfinals.
Agreed.
But even that new format apparently is like just a Super League.
It's like the
2.0,
Super League, it guarantees spots for
and
teams,
literally because of you know, the Sky Sports and BT and all of that are covering the Champions League. It's not really nobody's making any real noise about it.
I haven't seen it, so after this, could you send me
Have you guys heard about the the Europa Conference League as well? It's the third tier of UEFA competition now. So there's another league as well beyond Europa now, below Europa. More teams can come into Champions League. Certain teams are guaranteed spots based on their history in Europe. And I think it was a money thing. If you ask me, they advertised that every entrant of the Super League gets 350 million for entering the league each year. And if you win, you get 850 million that year. They then showed that the winner of the Champions League gets like 72 mil for the whole competition.
Nima? You think?
But what I mean is, this is all about money, but then no one's arguing that maybe football is more broken than just these clubs trying to steal the money and start a Super League.
Nima, it's a business.
As a whole, it's broken. Yeah.
It is. Listen.
But I think UEFA's robbing us. BT and Sky, they've paid billions for those rights. So, of course, they're going to fight the ESL, but they're not the good guys in this, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
100%.
BT is not good. Sky is not good. UEFA is not good. FIFA's as corrupt as they come. Like, something needs to be done about football as a whole. It needs to be cleaned up.
Thank you. FIFA, UEFA are a bunch of criminals, racist, whatever. They all are them.
They are.
Premier League, BT, Sky, you forget. We were getting free broadcast. Listen, I'm a mug. I've got the full Sky package, BT. I've got Sky Q in the bedroom and the living room, right? But I don't mind that because I don't go to the pubs or anything like that. Unfortunately, I can't go to Old Trafford as much as I want. So this is fine for me. But when we were getting it for free and I was getting a discount and stuff, remember, these are the same companies that were going to charge you $14.99 per game. I was
going to say, please don't forget, they trial charging us 15 quid a game to watch Burnley versus Sheffield. Like, they will try again.
And then when you hear that, right, you're thinking,
but where was the government then? Why didn't the government step in then?
But everyone got involved when, like, a couple of clubs decided to take matters in their hands. So what I'm getting at is these clubs are crooked, sure, but you're telling me that if West Ham or Everton were invited, they would have said no?
Exactly.
No, any club who got invited would have said yes.
And how quick did those T-shirts get printed up? That league.
It was as quick as the Spurs Carabao Cup winners T-shirt I saw on the Spurs. Like, someone leaked it, but they actually branded some.
I think it's a case of better the devil you know, because we are used to the UEFA and FIFA, not the ESL. We don't know how long it's going to last. Same applies to Kroenke. So as Nima said, I hope they've learned their lesson. I hope right now they've learned their lesson. The government can take action before they get into the next stage.
If they don't, they'll try again with better PR.
They really need
guys,
to do
think about it.
Because you see their true colors.
But think about it though, right? Florentino Perez came out and said, "We'll make our own league." Now, do you know how much power that is to come out and openly say, "We'll just make our own league"? Like, obviously there's legislation stuff, but what they were doing was completely legal from what I've read. Like, they are able to do that, and
there's competition laws protecting them from being blocked by the likes of UEFA. I don't even think UEFA and FIFA could have banned the players from international tournaments, if I'm frank.
They can't. No, they couldn't. They couldn't. Someone came out and said, Perez came out and said, there's like, when they're not. But apparently,
there was precedence in other sports,
Perez, apparently what I've read, I don't know if it's true or not, but when they were doing this, Perez and his team literally drafted a document to tell you what UEFA and FIFA will come at you and say. And he had like, it was like, this is what's going to happen, but legally they actually can't do it. So this guy it's not stupid. And I think here, it might not be a Super League, but I think it will be evolved in a way where you will see Man United, Arsenal play Real Madrid, Barcelona. It won't just be that stupid friendly that they do in pre-season. It will be. And do you know the funny thing is, we are going to watch it. As sad as it sounds, we are going to watch it.
I think it was the way it was done, right? It was the bad PR, the kind of the lack of merit in
the
being
timing,
chosen.
The timing off of the back of a global pandemic. I mean, with people
it felt
dying,
like they were trying to sneak it
it's
through,
just like
they know how to do it.
All of it was just
100%.
Oh, it's just so wrong.
100%.
And I just feel like, go on.
You asked Bitz about the Arsenal perspective, his Arsenal perspective. Like, for us also looking at United and Liverpool, obviously I want United to get relegated. Obviously I'd love to see Tottenham get relegated. I don't want them to die as a club. This is what you enjoy. I enjoy seeing Arsenal against United. I enjoy seeing
we're not football fans. We support
Fergie Wenger days. I mean, where have they gone, you know?
So the owners, all of them, I want all of them gone. Like someone like Kroenke doesn't even know which position Arsenal are in right now. That I always
guys, I'll tell you a very fun quote that came out. One of the top big six, one of the big six clubs in England that went to the ESL. There's a quote that one of their owners, and I can only imagine it was one of two. So you tell me who it was at his match in the stadium and said, "Which team are we?" Because they didn't know which color kit their club was wearing. I can only imagine that was Kroenke or Glazer.
He probably thinks
a guy called a few Arsenal fans came out and confirmed it was Kroenke.
It was Kroenke. I thought as much. Yeah.
Which is sad.
See, now back in olden times, I'd be using the McGivray emoji to that. But I have learned my lesson, friends.
Well, no, it's a sad state of affairs, guys. Literally.
Honestly,
we should just
how the
play
mighty
pro clubs
fallen.
on FIFA.
I think one thing we should say about Daniel Ek is I don't think it's going to be a quick thing. And someone actually said in the comments earlier, he did make a point that he knows it's a long journey. So I think the fact that he's got these 3 invincibles, for me, feels like it isn't a publicity stunt just purely because he can bide his time. Like these kind of deals, mergers and acquisitions or big business of billionaires, it's not conducted overnight. Like this could take 5 to 10 years. If the guy is serious, we should as fans do whatever we can in that, however long that journey is, to get Kroenke out. Whether it's for Daniel Ek or anyone else, but for me, the Invincibles
not really
are what give it credibility.
Until it starts to hurt his pocket.
Yeah,
so...
but like, what do? We cancel season tickets. There's 100,000 queue. Like Arsenal,
I
the
know
only club
this
that
is
say,
the thing, isn't it? It's
what do you do? How do you starve them of the money?
It's pissing against the wind. You know, it really is.
If you guys are not competing, okay, and when I say not competing, okay, I mean like if you're not coming in the top 6, so there's no Europa League, even no European football.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even
in that new tier.
Yeah. And then you'll start to see the price of Arsenal will come down, obviously, and that's when squeaky bum time for him. And like, I honestly do think if Arteta is in this for the long run, don't buy players. Literally, I know this might sound quite bad, right, negative, but the more Arsenal deteriorate on the pitch, the financial price will go down.
It's the only way to get him out.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it's going to affect, when it affects his wallet, okay, and he's not getting the same amount of Premier League money and stuff and whatever sponsorship via European, he's going to start thinking like, what's going on here? So, yeah, I mean, it's sad to say, but the worse your team gets on the pitch, probably the better. So what's the word they was saying? A short-term hit for a long-term goal. That's correct. That's the correct.
Yeah, I wonder if
Like,
we'll still be
yeah.
sat here though, like next season when he stayed and he's given Arteta the funds he needs, and we're just floating our way into the top
petrol
four
money.
again. Whether or not everybody will still be saying the
Well,
same
we have
thing.
so many problems, Nim. Though I agree with what Nima said earlier. Like, we are changing the board members every single day. How do you expect the players to focus on the pitch if there's protests going outside the pitch? The owners don't care. We have a problem with players getting injured. Like, we have like literally 30, 40 different problems. So sort it out. I don't think it will take one season. You have to give them time. Even to buy the club, you have to involve lawyers, the banks. Like, it will take years to get him gone and
Exactly.
I think if you also look at some of what's been happening, it's just so much worse than it actually appears on the surface. Like on the surface, like these cups, these FA Cups for the last decade, they've obviously masked some stuff with like the 3 or 4 wins in 8 years, whatever. Like they've masked stuff. But for me, the biggest worry about Arsenal right now is that they are starting to get to a position where, like, it's like what you said, Bitz. Like, if they don't make these European places, give it a couple of years, there's no guarantee they ever will again. Like, many bigger clubs have gone down and never come back. Like, there are some major clubs, like Champions League winners, like Notts Forest, and
I'll have to jump
where
ship.
are they today? Yeah, like
You know what I mean? Like,
I would say I'd go to
literally.
City because I'm so in love with Aguero, but he's not going to be there anymore either. So
he's going to be at Chelsea. You know what I mean? So,
maybe he can come to Arsenal. I don't think we can
AFC
afford him.
Wimbledon is my new team.
I love Mick Davis's comment. He's a Crystal Palace fan. He said, so that's another summer of Arsenal not buying Zaha then.
I think Palace are in. Just to talk on that, isn't there like 10 to 15 players from the first team contract up, and Roy doesn't have a contract? It's going to be an important summer for Palace. You might as well give us Zaha at a discount.
listen. Do you know what the thing about Crystal Palace right now? They just fulfill fixtures every season. Literally, let's be honest. I mean, Zaha does his little thing. I mean, Ezzy's a great signing, but
I love it. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for Zaha anymore because he didn't have to sign that contract. So
he chose.
I think
stay.
Zaha. I know we're going off topic, but I think Zaha thought, "What? I can earn this amount of money and still play for Crystal Palace? Come on, then. Do you know what I mean?"
Yeah. Cool. Well, I just wanted to kind of just say, like, wrapping it back up with the whole ownership and things, and we've touched upon it a couple of times. Like, one thing I wanted to say is that I do feel like it was so quick and surprising to me how the government wanted to jump in on the Super League thing. But there's so many things around football right now that I feel they could be lending themselves to that they're not. And, and this boycott this weekend is another example of that. There's so much the government could be doing with this and helping this and striving this forward for abuse, for racism, that really they could be, if they wanted to help English football, they could be in on this, and really helping. So that's a message really as well that I think we could be getting out there. But I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining me today, and I want to say thank you to Bits and Bobs, and say thank you to FPL Nima, and I want to say thank you to Glen Kightley at Everything Arsenal. Do make sure you go and check out each of their channels and Twitter pages and things like that, because been fantastic guests. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Listen, thank you for having me.
No,
seriously, I've enjoyed that.
It's
I've
been
enjoyed
brilliant.
it.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah, I think hopefully when we can, we'll be able to watch a game together. Maybe a United versus Arsenal game would be fitting.
Listen, 100%. Listen, the Europa League. Listen,
it could be a final,
Oh, don't. Let's not even get started on how we. Yeah, I was going to say let's just worry about tomorrow first for us anyway. At least.
I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure we can sort that out on one channel or another once it's hopefully in the offing. So cheers, Glenn, for coming along, and thank you for joining us in your long distance there, time wise.
Thank you for having me again. It's brilliant to work with you again and to work with Nima for the first time. And these are topics that I usually don't talk about, by the way, like ownership and racism and all this. I just usually prefer to focus on the team and the tactics and all that. So it's brilliant, like talking about some different things.
Cool. That's why I'm hoping to kind of fill a bit of a, a spot, I suppose. So, okay then, guys. Well, thanks all for watching. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. And as I say, do go and check out the other guys' channels and social medias too. Links are in the description below. So, see you soon. Bye, guys.